Live from the KMOV Broadcast Center in downtown St. Louis. This is News 4 with breaking news.
That breaking news from Maryland Heights tonight, where police shot and killed a man after they say the man drew his gun toward them. I'm Emily Pritchard. News 4's Emma Hogue joins us live from that scene on Briarcoat Lane, just east of 270. Emma?
In Maryland Heights tonight, Emma Hogue, News 4.
Thank you, Emma. And also tonight, police are looking for who shot 5 people at a large bonfire gathering in North St. Louis County. News 4's Alyssa Toomey spoke to a witness who was in the crowd when the shots rang out late last night. No suspects are in custody tonight, but police say this investigation remains very active. You can contact Crime Stoppers anonymously if you know anything. We're also following the latest developments in a shooting at a bar in Kansas City, Kansas. 4 men were killed and 5 other people were injured. Police say 2 shooters opened fire at the Tequila Casey bar at around 1:30 this morning. There were about 40 people inside at the time of the shooting. Investigators say it appears to be a targeted attack.
We do not believe it's random. We do believe that this was an isolated incident, I guess you would call it. We don't feel that these suspects are going to go out and do this again.
Police say there was some kind of dispute at that bar earlier in the evening. The 2 shooters left, then returned with guns and began shooting. Police are still looking for the suspects. More rain in parts of the St. Louis area today. Let's get our first check of that forecast with meteorologist Megan Danahay.
Yep, we still have some showers that are coming up.
Can't wait for that. Megan, thank you. And October baseball is back in St. Louis. The Cardinals are taking on the Atlanta Braves in Game 3 of the NLDS. And as you would expect, downtown St. Louis was a sea of red this afternoon. Fans showed up early to take part in the pregame festivities. Many we talked to feel good about the Cardinals' chances in the playoffs. Local businesses are also hoping the Cardinals go far in the playoffs. According to the Regional Chamber of Commerce, each NLDS home game generates $6.3 million for the St. Louis region. And with 2 home games in the series, that's, of course, $12.6 million. The Cardinals' impact for the 2019 regular season was an estimated $344 million. And we will have much more on Game 3 of the NLDS coming up in sports tonight. You can also keep up with the Cardinals with the Baseball STL app. You can download it for free in your phone's app store. Still ahead on News 4, a second whistleblower could provide new information about President Trump's contacts with Ukraine. The latest developments in the impeachment inquiry are coming up. And there's more green in one St. Louis neighborhood as volunteers step up to beautify their community. Lawyers say a second whistleblower has come forward with firsthand knowledge of President Donald Trump's contacts with Ukraine. The president's efforts to get Ukraine to investigate Joe Biden and his son are at the heart of the ongoing impeachment inquiry. Meg Oliver is following the latest developments. In Dallas, Texas, police are searching for the shooter who killed a key witness in the murder trial of a former police officer. Joshua was treated and released. One other victim remains hospitalized. It's almost flu season and time to get that flu shot. Next on News 4, where you can get a free flu vaccination starting tomorrow. Welcome back. Meteorologist Megan Danahay is with us this evening. Things are pretty calm outside right now, but we have been watching a few showers across the area.
Yeah, we got some pesky lingering showers out there. They may be lingering right on through the early part of tonight. 43 in the city, 41 in the city. That means 30s in outlying areas.
Wow, we haven't seen that in a while, but I know I've been asking for fall, so here it is.
Yep, here it is. I really think we're done with the 90s. I don't know how we get back there.
That sounds great. Megan, thank you. And it's finally starting to feel like fall, of course, and that means you will see a lot of pumpkins popping up around the area. Take a look at this video of the New England giant pumpkin way off in Massachusetts. These pumpkins are so heavy, they actually need to be picked up with a forklift. Pretty impressive. One grower says the secret to getting these gourds so large is rolling the pumpkin onto plywood.
Water, fertilize, prune. Now, if you get a lot of rain, then you're on plywood, and it's much safer than if it's sitting in the dirt.
Interesting. Never knew that. And this year's massive gourd set a new fair record. You can see they're pretty happy about it. The winner was Alex Noel of Connecticut. He broke the Topsfield Fair record with a pumpkin weighing in, get this, around 2,295 pounds. That is a lot of pumpkin pie. Someone needs to start baking. Well, here is Maurice Drummond with sports.
Hey, from big pumpkins to big efforts by the Cardinals out there at Busch Stadium, Emily. Cards and Braves, they're going at it right now at Busch and get on the season. Sometimes they make it look easy. Adam Wainwright making it look easy out there at Busch. He has been absolutely spectacular. They're in the ninth inning right now. If they can win 2 here, you don't have to go back to Atlanta. Keep it right here in St. Louis.
And wouldn't that be great to keep things here in St. Louis? And really, tomorrow's baseball weather, there's going to be nothing like it.
Perfect. I mean, I can't drum up a better October day than tomorrow. Sunny, 72, light north wind. Perfection.
Nice day for a clincher.
Yeah, I think so.
Hey, fingers crossed.
It'd be
All right,
nice.
we need the win tonight and the win tomorrow. Thank you for joining us. 60 Minutes is next, and we will see you back here tonight for News 4 at 10. And, of course, Blues Weekly. Don't forget, you can download the KMOV News app to get all of your breaking news updates.
Michael's last watch came on June 23. He went where duty called.
Family and community come together to lay Officer Michael Langsdorff to rest, his chief remembering him as the perfect police officer.
If I had 100 officers like Michael, I wouldn't have a problem in the world.
His children as a loving father.
He had a huge impact on so many people, and even though he was tough, he had the biggest heart.
Up next, News 4 live team coverage of the final goodbye and growing community support for Officer Michael Langsdorff.
Live from the KMOV Broadcast Center in downtown St. Louis. This is News 4, watching out for you.
Officers, family, friends, even strangers gathered to pay their respects to fallen Officer Michael Langsdorff. Some at his funeral, others lining the procession to show their support. Thank you for joining us. I'm Steve Savard.
And I'm Emily Pritchard. Courtney and Claire have the night off. Officer Michael Langsdorff was killed in the line of duty a week ago in Wellston. Langsdorff served with the North County Cooperative Police Department.
Russell Kinsall joins us live from the Cathedral Basilica of St. Louis, where hundreds gathered for the funeral mass this morning.
Right now,
St. Louis City and county leaders were also there to pay their respects this morning. Our cameras captured St. Louis Police Chief John Hayden walking out of the Basilica alongside St. Louis Public Safety Director Jimmy Edwards. County Prosecutor Wesley Bell and St. Louis Mayor Lyda Krewson was there on the right.
Powerhouse Sky Zoom 4.
Thank you, Emma. The fallen officer's funeral procession traveled from the Cathedral Basilica to a South St. Louis County cemetery. Powerhouse Sky Zoom 4 was above along that route. Officer Michael Langsdorff's fellow men and women in blue lined the front of the Cathedral Basilica. The officer's casket carried among salutes. From up above, you see the scope of the crowd. The motorcade led the procession as people along the street showed their respect. The fire department draped this American flag. You can make out 2 by 2 the dozens of motorcycles leading the more than 8-mile trek. More than 30 first responders lined this stretch shoulder to shoulder. At this corner, you can see nearly 20 white police cruisers as the procession makes a turn onto Chippewa. As the procession goes under this bridge, another American flag flies above as someone below holds their hand over their heart. More line the street near the cemetery. After the miles-long journey, people stood in the street to welcome fallen Officer Langsdorff to his final resting place at Resurrection Cemetery.
Many in the community have come together.
A live look now at the arch from our BJC Sky Cam network. It's clear out there for now after a heavy afternoon downpour. Meteorologist Megan Danahay is tracking the very latest.
Yes, it's a lot.
Megan, thank you, and stay connected to the Forewarned Storm Team. The KMOV weather app will bring you updates for your area straight to your phone. The app is free. You can find it in your phone's app store. A new estimate shows it will cost more than $1 billion to repair all of the levees damaged in recent flooding across Missouri. The U.S. Army Corps of Engineers released the $1.15 billion estimate. More than 100 levees are affected. The Corps estimates it will take at least a couple of years to fully restore the damage. New at 5, back here at home, Lambert Airport is making it easier for new mothers to travel. Crews have started construction on lactation suites in concourses. This you are looking at is a rendering of what the private space will look like. There will be 3 post-security spaces in concourses A, C, and E. Each space will feature a sink, power outlets, and a full-back club chair with a movable arm table. The suites are set to open by mid-August.
Coming up tonight, after the CBS Evening News, a woman killed in a dispute with a neighbor in Jefferson County. Now her husband is talking only to News 4 about what led to the attack. That story coming up at 6.
And still ahead on News 4 at 5, a recall on popular items sold at Trader Joe's in Missouri and Illinois. What you need to toss from your freezer right now. That's next. Welcome back. A runner in Virginia has just completed a dream that was 2 decades in the making.
Michael Wardian ran the entire Capitol Beltway, a 64-mile highway that surrounds Washington, D.C. His trek was actually almost 90 miles long because he used side streets to be safe.
The 45-year-old started at 1:30 a.m. Saturday, and hours into his own race, he stumbled upon an organized 5K.
I was like, hey, is it okay if I grab some water? And they're like, yeah, sure. They're like, you gonna do the 5K? And I was like, no, I've been running since like 1:30 in the morning, and I'm gonna run around the Beltway. And they're just like just blew their mind.
This is not his first challenging run. In February, he set a record for running 10 marathons in 10 days. Who do you think he is, Forrest Gump?
Wow.
He hopes to inspire people to push themselves toward a goal physically and mentally.
So how long did it take Wardian to run that Beltway? 17 hours, 54 minutes, and 59 seconds. It makes me wonder what I've done with 17 hours worth of my own time.
Makes me tired.
Yes,
Need a massage.
Too. The CBS Evening News is up next.
We'll see you again in a half hour for News 4 at 6.
Suspect accused of shooting and killing Trooper Nick Hopkins was arraigned in court this afternoon.
News 4's Emily Pritchard is tracking what's next for that suspect. She's live in Waterloo as the community honors the trooper.
Tonight, people are here paying their respects to Trooper Nick Hopkins. And today, what felt like nearly the entire community lined the sidewalk as his body was escorted through town to a local funeral home. Tonight, you can see this memorial behind me grows as people are dropping off flowers and notes. And also, today, the man accused of his murder was in court, and now a grand jury will decide his fate.
And it just breaks her heart, just absolutely breaks her heart to leave 3 little kids like that. It's just saddening. So we're out here to support him and his family.
The town of Waterloo helped raise him. Now the community is mourning Illinois State Trooper Nick Hopkins' service and ultimate sacrifice.
To show my respect for the family and the kids and the community, and especially the officers that gives their lives.
As the community mourns the loss of Trooper Hopkins, who leaves behind a wife and 3 young children, the man accused of his murder was arraigned in court. News 4 obtained these court documents that charge Chris Grant with first-degree murder, setting bond at $5 million. This is St. Clair County court records of Grant's past. You can see charges dating back from 1992. 15 of the total 33 cases were dismissed. His convictions range from operating an uninsured car, unlawful possession of a controlled substance, to obstructing justice. No defense attorney is listed for Grant. Back in Waterloo, the only thought is honoring their fallen hero and the difference he made in his community that won't be forgotten.
I just think we should. Everybody should. These guys go to work every day. Their loved ones don't know if they're coming home.
And as people work to mourn the officer in their own way, his funeral announcements have been made. We know that all of the services for Trooper Hopkins will be held at Waterloo High School. The visitation will happen Saturday from 3 to 9 p.m. and the funeral will follow on Sunday, September 1st at 10 a.m. Reporting live in Waterloo tonight, Emily Pritchard, News 4.
News 4's Emily Pritchard live along Main Street where the flood barriers, Emily, are still up.
That's right, Claire, they are. And this line right here is how high the floodwater got in 1993. That's according to a church trustee here I talked with today. You are looking at the Grafton United Methodist Church, and you can see today that the water didn't get to it, and that is because of all of these barriers that were built by the church and the city. If we pan off here, you can see, you are going to look down Main Street. You can see it is closed right now. That is because the Mississippi's river water is still covering it tonight. It still needs to drop about 6 feet before this road can be back open. And today we got to look inside of this historic church along Main Street as they deal with water in their basement. Gary Conrad shows how high the water got inside the basement of the historic Grafton United Methodist Church.
It goes back to the wild days of Grafton, you know, where we had more taverns than we had businesses.
Conrad says the building will celebrate 186 years this fall as a pillar of downtown, the oldest church in Jersey County.
Grafton's got a wonderful history of being an old river town.
With the history comes the flooding struggles. Conrad came to the church today to try and assess the damage, but the water inside is still too high. The sanctuary building has a stone foundation, so they've been pumping water out to keep it intact.
Not too high, not too low. And the reason we do that is to keep the foundation from imploding, because if that happens, we'll lose the church.
The water has already left its mark.
The church acquired a $400 water bill.
When the flood caused the toilets to overflow, and soon it will be time to clean.
That will require lots of bleach.
You can see in the city's garage, bleach and cleaning supplies have started to be donated.
Every day hurts us, so we got to get them back up and going.
The mayor says they are working on bringing in dumpsters for debris because they would like to have the city back in business by the 4th of July.
You know, we're going to have fireworks, and it's going to be a lot more than honoring our country. It's going to be, you know, kickstart Grafton again.
The church trustee told me that they do hope to return to this auxiliary building they have for their services by the end of the month. In the meantime, they've been attending a sister parish nearby. And just down the road here at City Hall, the mayor says that community leaders are meeting there tonight. They're going to be talking about how to organize volunteers and also what they can do with cleaning supplies, helping residents here to recover as quickly as possible so they can get this back open and ready for the big holiday coming up, with which they are hoping to cash in on. Reporting live in Grafton tonight, Emily Pritchard, News 4.
But first, we want to go to our Emily Pritchard, who is running down the announcement and what happens next. Emily, right now is when the real work really begins.
That's right, and a lot of work is going to have to be happening pretty soon. A roughly 25,000-seat stadium needs to be built, and the ownership group says that will happen right here in a part of the downtown west neighborhood of St. Louis. And if you look just over my shoulder, that's Union Station, so it will be pretty close by. Of course, in Union Station is where the new aquarium is going and the Ferris wheel. A lot of excitement is now coming to seeing soccer played right here in St. Louis.
St. Louis, which with its incredibly rich soccer history, not only deserves an MLS team, but has earned one.
St. Louis soccer fans downright giddy over the announcement.
With the Blues doing so well and the Cardinals historically being amazing, it only makes sense for us to replace the Rams with something that people are really excited about.
These two say a lot of people don't realize soccer is deep in the roots of the city.
We actually met playing indoor soccer.
MLS for the Lou ownership member Carolyn Kindle Betts says the stars aligned for this push.
Things just started falling into place faster than we expected, so we had to take advantage of those opportunities. And here we are 10 months later, saying we got a team.
Next comes the building of a team and a place to play. Even Blues Hall of Famers are excited about what is to come.
A lot of jobs, a lot of inspiration, and obviously getting the great athletes and this ownership group together, they'll do great things.
After today's big announcement, we will now wait until 2022 when we will first see these hoisted in a Major League Soccer stadium right here in St. Louis. The roughly 25,000-seat open-air stadium will for sure sit in downtown West. It's mainly privately funded through the ownership group. They're not asking for any taxes. You'll just pay a tax if you buy tickets or things at the stadium. This new reality for St. Louis now settles on an already strong soccer foundation.
I was kind of hoping for a name, to be honest, but...
Do you have a preference?
No. I try not to throw my hat into those things, but I don't want it to be St. Louis FC.
A lot of us are waiting for that name, and we will get there soon. Now, we still do not know the exact location of the stadium, but the ownership group says that they will release some more details once they finalize those in the coming weeks. They do say they hope to have this stadium built by March of 2022. Reporting live in downtown West, Emily Pritchard, News 4.
Spotlight on those who served. Brought to you by Graybar.
Many enter the military with a passion to serve their country, but no one signs up to do battle with health struggles after their mission is complete.
Tonight, News 4's Emily Pritchard shares one St. Louis area woman's journey.
Angela Peacock was once a smiling teenager from Ferguson with dreams to have an impact.
I need something with meaning. I need something with that, is like big impact. Like I just felt like uneasy. Like I need to go do something that like has meaning. And so I couldn't find anything better than like serving your country.
Retired Sergeant Peacock, a soldier with the U.S. Army for nearly 7 years. Every minute since, she's been working to fight the stigma of a veteran trying to adjust to civilian life.
The narrative is always that like we're damaged or we're broken or something is wrong, but there's a lot right about the way that we came back.
Peacock doesn't like the word disorder used when talking about post-traumatic stress.
People think there's something wrong with you, and I feel like that's what's right with me because like my brain and body adapted to help me live through that, and like it's not easy to forget.
Peacock was one of the first soldiers on the ground in the Iraq War after 9/11.
I was in pretty much like the first wave, probably one of the first female combat veterans to ever get into Iraq.
Many of her days in Baghdad spent on convoys, always on alert.
There's children that try to sell you things, but sometimes the things had explosives in them.
Trying to survive the unknown they were up against.
There's dead animals on the side of the road, and you can't, drive by them because they have a bomb in there.
While fighting an outside enemy, she battled an internal one. Peacock became very ill in Iraq, her appearance drastically changing, losing 40 pounds in a month, withering down to 100 pounds.
I'm gonna die from one or the other. So like every day before I would leave for a convoy, I would make up my bed and make sure all my stuff was neat and clean because I was like, okay, if I die on the way today, like I don't want my unit to have to clean up a mess. So like that really did something to me because like I was walking that line between life and death like every single minute.
Peacock served in South Korea before the Iraq War. That's where she says she was sexually assaulted at the age of 21 by another military member, adding to her trauma.
That rape was just one night, it was a couple hours, but that war was like 6 months every day thinking that I was gonna die. And like those two experiences were profoundly different, but the war is what just completely shattered me.
Peacock was medically evacuated out of Iraq.
So I lost my career just asking for help.
And she was medically retired, suffering from PTSD.
I was on 17 medications in 2006. That was what my treatment was. I didn't get any therapy really.
Over more than a decade, she's weaned herself off medication, tried other therapy, and found strength at the end of a leash from her service dog, G.I. Joe.
I just decided to kind of like take the reins back of my own health.
Peacock will never forget her time in uniform, serving our country. She now mentors other veterans.
It's been life-changing.
And advocates for better treatment for vets when they ask for help. Peacock tells me she's not different from anyone else. Trauma is universal, but the hard-fought battle is worth it.
Feel it, and don't be afraid of like your symptoms or emotions or feelings. Like don't swallow them. Like just learn how to feel and find connection in your community with people that love you and that will listen to you, and that is what heals.
From St. Charles, Emily Pritchard, News 4.
Peacock is about to start a new journey. She'll be living full-time in an RV traveling across the country to promote a documentary she's in called Medicating Normal. Film profiles 4 people who were prescribed drugs to treat issues like trauma, anxiety, and depression, and some of the consequences they faced after. Angela's goal is to make a difference by sharing her experience.